So I almost got arrested last night after I may have attempted to bribe the bookstore manager to give me a copy of the newest Hunger Games book a day early. She did threaten to call the police if I didn't leave, and I felt like it was a massive overreaction, to be honest with you. But regardless, I went this morning like a normal person and spent the last 10 hours speed reading it so I could be the first person on the internet to give you guys an honest review of the newest Hunger Games book. So, full disclosure, I actually don't really enjoy reading fiction novels much anymore, but I was specifically really excited to read this book because I was a huge Hunger Games fan growing up, and I think that Suzanne Collins is a wickedly talented author, and I had high expectations for this book because she is such an incredible author and she's never let us down. But I wasn't expecting to like it more than the original series or The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I thought was phenomenal and added so much depth to the story and the entire history of the Hunger Games. But after reading this today, I actually might be prepared to say that this is the best book in the entire series. So the reason why I was initially not expecting to like this book as much as previous ones is because we already got a pretty solid glimpse into how Haymitch won the Hunger Games, the 50th Hunger Games, in the Catching Fire book. So I felt like the stakes were a little bit low and there may be more interesting prequels and other characters to explore. But then I learned the entire purpose of this book is sort of the theme of perception versus reality, and that what we thought we saw and what we thought we knew about Haymitch's games was extremely misleading, which is obviously a very topical conversation now in 2025 about how media institutions and governments lie to us. And that was a really interesting sort of meta experience to see that so much of what I already thought that I knew was completely incorrect. And while the theme of propaganda is obviously not new to the Hunger Games universe, that's a really important motif that's been woven throughout every single story. It's specifically compelling in this book, and I really feel like this is a book that every young person should read because not only is it really engaging and will get them excited to read again, but it can also be analyzed at so many different stages of life and through so many different lenses. It can be enjoyed as a young person as just a fictional story, but it's also really enjoyable as an older person to read and apply to our topical circumstances, understanding in the context of how our governments and media institutions lie to us. And I just think it's a really important case study that can build critical thinking skills so we can start sensing the ways in which we are being deceived. And I obviously want this to be a spoiler-free review, but it's a very tragic book. It's possibly her most gruesome book of all the series, so definitely more on the adult side than the young adult side, in my opinion. And it's not a standalone book. It really does a good job of weaving together all of the storylines and connecting characters and plot lines and giving little tidbits of information that we didn't know before, where it doesn't feel like, oh, she just plopped it here and that's it. It really feels like it's a connecting thread between the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and the original Hunger Games series. I also just want to say that Suzanne Collins is so specifically good at writing from a first-person perspective, writing from the eyeballs and the brain of Haymitch. As I was reading it, I felt like I was him. I felt his bitterness and his pain and the heartbreak that he was experiencing, the anxiety. And that's what I missed about her books. And I just don't know how many fictional authors are as good at her at really feeling like you are the character when you're reading the book. And I just wish she would write more of these novels because she has a really, really powerful gift. And I really think that this is going to inspire so many young people to start reading again because we have an epidemic of young kids not reading. The only bad thing about this book is I actually finished it too quickly and now I have a book hangover. You know when you leave a movie theater and you're sort of walking out and you feel like you were just transported to another universe and then it cuts and then you sort of have to jump back to the real world and it's hard to snap into it? That's kind of how I feel because she is so incredibly gifted at completely teleporting you into her universe and into the mind and the emotion of her characters that I just wish that I could keep reading it. And that's really the only thing I dislike about this is that Suzanne Collins has so much integrity that she won't just continue to pump out books like I'm sure so many publishers would like her to do because she makes so much money, but she only writes stories when she has a story to tell. And that's what I love about her and why this is obviously going to be just another hit and something else to add to her incredible portfolio. So Sunrise on the Reaping is incredible. This is obviously not sponsored. I wish it was, and if it was, I probably would have gotten the book, at least a few hours early. I did not. This is absolutely Be Better approved. Read this book. get it on Kindle, get the audiobook, whatever you need to do. And I'm also excited that this is going to become a movie. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about who should be casted. And I have a lot of faith that if Suzanne Collins is involved in turning this into a movie, that it will be an incredible, honestly, Oscar-worthy film. Actually, that's an insult. The Oscars don't mean anything. It will be an incredible film, and I can't wait to see it. And yeah, I just love this book so much. So